Good morning all, and thank you for joining our Changemakers webinar hosted by London South East Colleges and the Skills Network. I will just hold on for 2 more minutes just to ensure all attendees have had a chance to join. So we will start at 2 minutes past 10. Thank you. Great stuff. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Jack McDougall, and thank you so much for joining us today. Colleagues from the Skills Network and London South East Colleges are really excited that you've joined us today from a wide variety of organisations to talk about the Changemaker programme. Before we begin, this session is being recorded and the recording will be available upon conclusion of this webinar. Please feel free to use the chat function to share any questions and comments at any time during the presentation, and we will address as many of these as possible during our Q&A period. Once again, thank you for your participation. We are delighted to have you with us, and we hope that you find today's session both informative and productive. Now, let us begin, and I will hand over to the Skills Network Chief Executive, Mark Dorr.
Hi, morning everyone. As Jack said, thanks for joining. I'm just going to do a very brief intro and then I'll come back in a bit later to give a bit more depth of the Skills Network's involvement. This is an amazing initiative and we're really pleased to be a partner in it. It's something that's obviously been driven by LSEC, by Sam, Karen and the team. And been going for a while, but it's really getting a momentum now. Great engagement. We've had almost 100 registrations for this webinar and great engagement, Karen, at the AOC conference as well. So it feels like the whole sector is joining in now. So today you're going to hear about the overall programme, the different elements of it, how you can engage, the resources that have been made available by the Skills Network, and then a bit about the exciting future of this programme as well. And who better to introduce all of that but Sam Parrott from LSEC. So over to you, Sam.
Thanks very much, Mark. Good morning, everybody. I think probably most of you would know me. I'm Sam Parrott, and I'm the Group Principal and Chief Exec at London South East Colleges. Really pleased to be on this webinar today. It's brilliant to see so many colleges coming together to think creatively now about how we can start to recognise and develop the skills through volunteering that so many of our learners are now achieving. So I just want to start by giving a little bit of background and context to this really important programme and to explain why Good for Me, Good for FE is both partnering with the Skills Network and NCFE, but also hoping that we can take this wider within and beyond our sector. So Good for Me launched in 2021. It was following on from the success of FE Food Bank Friday, which we developed during the pandemic. And that campaign was supported by Loughborough College and East Coast colleges. And together we started to galvanise lots of support in terms of colleges coming together to think about not just how we can donate lots of goods and items and time to food banks, but how we can support people in need at a very challenging time. And the aim in those early days was to encourage and celebrate the widespread volunteering and fundraising activities being undertaken by staff and students in RFE colleges across the country every day. It wasn't anything that we were starting, it was simply something we were beginning to recognise and celebrate. And so since our inception, there's now 150 colleges nationwide joining this programme. And collectively, we've generated hundreds of thousands of hours of volunteering, hundreds of thousands of items of volunteering to our food banks. But we've also generated millions of pounds of social value collectively and developed methodologies for how to do that, as many of you will know. And we've also raised a huge amount of money for good causes across our communities. But of course, throughout all of this, we've all seen personally the first-hand impact that volunteering and community engagement has on young people, and indeed on us and our colleagues and our well-being. It builds our confidence, it develops essential skills, it's improving employability and creates a real sense of belonging and purpose. But also what we've increasingly seen, thinking about the importance of the skills that we gain through volunteering, that it's delivering clear and tangible benefits to our local communities, to partner organisations, but also to the individuals who are engaged in volunteering. We also know that for many people, volunteering opportunities can feel hard to access, difficult to sustain, or perhaps might not be relevant to them. And as inclusive organisations, we're also thinking a lot about how do we enable more people to access those volunteering opportunities. And for those that do volunteer regularly, the skills that they gain through these activities, the teamwork, the resilience, the communication, the leadership skills, to name but a few, are not always fully recognised, either by themselves personally or by the employers or the volunteering organisations that they are working with. And that's where our new Changemakers programme comes in. And that's why our partnership with Skills Network and with NCFE is so important, because these volunteering credentials have huge potential and provide an accessible learning platform now for a wide range of learners. We started our pilot with study programme learners, recognising the skills gained through volunteering and work experience. But actually, adults, career changers, those deemed as not in education and training, and individuals who are perhaps now actively engaged in seeking work through DWP supported programmes, for example, are all going to be able to access these new qualifications. And through this new programme, learners will be able to develop vital employability skills and, crucially, have those skills formally recognised and celebrated. In short, together, what we're trying to do now through launching this programme is ensure that volunteering and social action activities create meaningful pathways into further education, training, employment and beyond. It's absolutely a win-win for our learners, for our employers, for us as providers and educators, and for our local communities. So we're really excited to be working on this together in partnership with Skills Network, who have very generously donated time and resources to the development of this programme and helping us to mobilise this opportunity so that we can reach so many more change makers in our colleges and in our communities and benefit many, many more people across the community. I'd like to hand over to Neil Coates now, who is a college principal here at LSEC, and Neil has been leading on the development of these qualifications and awards in partnership with NCFE and Skills Network, and he will explain more about the programme that we developed and how, with the support of Skills Network, we're planning to maximise the reach and impact. And just one last thing from me is to say that everybody involved in this programme is giving of their time freely to the development of these changemaker programmes and these first steps in terms of moving this forward, because we absolutely believe that this is the right thing and what our change makers across the country need within and beyond our sector. Later on in the year, we're going to be developing an awards programme and celebration event, just like we have for the Good for Me, Good for FE staff who are involved at the House of Lords, and that's now in its 3rd year this year. So you're joining a movement here, and we're very glad to have you here this morning with us. Over to you, Neil.
Thank you, Sam. Fabulous introduction, and I'm going to get some slides up in full teacher mode to go through with where you are. As Sam said, my name's Neil Coates. I'm the college principal for our Greenwich campus and deputy principal for skills and apprenticeships, and I've been excited to be involved in this. So if we go into the first overview. So as Sam outlined, so the Good for Me campaign has been around coming out of COVID, and what we've found is there's a real opportunity now to look at developing a programme to really validate the skills and volunteering that everyone involved in this has been doing. So this was where the inception of the programme comes from. So move to the next slide. So why the Change Makers programme? We see this as a fantastic opportunity, not just for our study programme learners to be able to go on this and develop their skills. We see this as a programme that you could use with your partners in organisations such as DWP or with your adults to try and validate them skills and volunteering and getting people back into work. And we're also having conversations with corporate organisations that see this as a great way of them being able to work with their staff in showing evidence for the social value and volunteering they do in their organisations. So while they're called to that, and I think a lot of people's thoughts are about how they could be used possibly with young learners, the scope and scale of this that we'll be rolling out over the next few months could be a lot wider. So move on to the next slide, please. So what is it we're looking at, and why is this quite an innovative idea? So the Changemaker programme is looking at how it combines a set of skills content aligned with a number of hours of volunteering, building into a set of micro-credentials, which is obviously the new buzzword within the sector at the moment, around how do we use small elements of training to be able to accredit them skills so people can have both short-term milestones and long-term goals. We feel that the model that we've put together will motivate and support learners in both going through the depth of skills as well as the breadth within a number of volunteering hours. If we move on to the next slide. So what does it actually look like? So the programme itself is a structure that a lot of people, if you're both from a curriculum background, learning support, private training providers, you recognise. So there's 3 layers, 3 elements or levels to this programme, starting with the foundation level where we look at the introduction to volunteering. Each of the levels, so moving through foundation, intermediate and advanced, has a set of 3 modules they'll focus on, and they're the skills specifically that learners will go through to try and develop from both the start of introducing to volunteering all the way into them leadership skills. Each of them modules have a set of 4 objectives, and within those objectives are set between 2 to 5 criteria. So your standard structure of a qualification that's been built within this framework. What we're looking at today and what we're launching is that introductory programme. So we can move on to the next slide, please. So what's part of that introductory programme? What we've done is done a lot of work with employers, stakeholders, voluntary organisations to look at what are the base skills that someone going into volunteering needs to look at. So the first 3 modules we'll be looking at here is around using effective communication, how teamwork and collaboration within volunteering works, as well as planning and applying time management. So each of those 3 modules have a set of objectives and assessment criteria, all of which that we'll explain later is built within the skills network framework. So what you have for this delivery is both a set of material that if you wanted to deliver it in a classroom setting or even introduce this work, you've got a set of slides and content to support that, as well as it going into a really intuitive platform that we've developed with the skills network that learners can work through at their own pace to develop them skills and moving through the levels. So move to the next slide. So that skills depth is the horizontal part of this program that I'm going to show in an overview shortly. The vertical part of this is the level of volunteering. So what we'll be able to see through this, we've got a framework of learners being accredited for the volunteering hours that they've done. So starting with a minimum of 20 hours to hit that bronze award, moving up into silver and gold over time. So if I bring up the next slide, we'll give you the full overview of what we're looking at for today. So this is the Changemakers program in its entirety. So you can see there's a horizontal and a vertical view on this, and the middle of the grid shows the different micro credentials that individuals will be able to achieve. So on the left-hand side is the depth of knowledge and skills that individuals will be able to go through in the content that we was just showing, and along the top is the levels of volunteering. So the first block of what we're looking at today is launching the introduction to volunteering, the foundation element, as well as the bronze level, so learners can access the community starter. The idea over time, based on a learner's level of skill or time commitment, they can move across this program. So for example, if you've got a learner that would only be able to access the material at foundation level, but it's got more of ability to be able to access more volunteering hours, they can move across the line all the way to a local change maker. And conversely, if a learner has got less time for volunteering but sees it really as a really powerful point within the bronze area, but it's got more time to develop the skills, they can move all the way down to the emerging leader. So there's flexibility within what we're able to deliver here, ultimately with the goal of learners and individuals coming towards the full Changemaker program where they're able to achieve all of the QNITs and all of the volunteering hours. So the next steps, what we've got within the program. So we've now launched, as I said, the Community Starter. So there'll be access to the first 3 modules of learning, as well as the bronze level of accreditation for volunteering. By the end of February, we'll be launching the full bronze, silver and gold opportunity for people to be able to gain them volunteering hours. Through the course of that, we'll review the impact of this, how it's gone, and what the next steps are, with us viewing to roll out the intermediate program by March and the advanced program by May, hopefully having the opportunity for people to become a full change maker by the summer of this year. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Neil. My go now. Sam and I haven't really compared notes before this webinar, and what I've written very much reflects what Sam has said. What we know is it's critical for learners to develop skills for work and their ability to contribute in wider society, and definitely policy is leaning that way now much more around employability, enrichment, tutorial support. We've got Ofsted's absolute focus on inclusion, which brings in those areas, and the curriculum and assessment reviews spoken a lot about the focus on the non-qualification element of a study program. And I'm sure everyone in here knows, the qualification gets you the interview. What gets you the job is all that other stuff that the individual has learned during their study program. And I'm sure, again, what most of you will be thinking is it's a real challenge to cover everything in the tutorial enrichment program, and it's getting bigger and bigger. I was speaking at a Managers of Student Services conference the other week, totally dedicated members of staff, but they're saying, how do we manage to do all of this? And what we're trying to do is, I suppose, assist in part of that. Volunteering for me is a win-win. There's a desperate need for volunteers out there, and they're welcomed with open arms. And that's a lot easier than trying to persuade an employer to take on a learner to provide work experience. So, and the opportunity to develop the skills while supporting the community is a great opportunity for those learners. And those learners don't always recognise the skills they are developing or have developed. And I suppose this programme handholds them through that process of becoming a volunteer, being a volunteer, and then helping them identify the relevant skills that they have gained through volunteering. So fantastic initiative in so many different ways, benefiting everyone. And of course, those colleges that are involved in this is a great corporate social responsibility activity as well, and engaging with the local community, helping the local community, providing volunteers. So why are we involved? You may ask. Our expertise is delivering online resource and delivery, and we support over 100 colleges already in that. We've got over 200 resources at the moment supporting adults and 16 to 19-year-olds in the tutorial employability and enrichment development of those individuals. And actually, you know, one of the questions we got beforehand was, how on earth do we fit all of this in? We believe that online resource and support can help you fit all of this in as part of a blended program to those learners. And this program is a key part of that. So that's why we were very keen to be part of the initiative and provide the resources for it. So we jumped at the opportunity when Sam got my arm and bent it on my back and said, I'm sure you'd like to be part of this. Didn't need much persuasion. For this program, we've applied our normal approach to development, which you will hear more about shortly. Our resources designed by people who understand the education sector, understand the expectations of our regulators as well, Ofsted, Ofqual, DFE. It's designed to be highly engaging. It's of a high quality and extremely accessible. It works in a very pick and mix approach, so you can decide what learners will do what activities. So again, with volunteering, you can decide which learners you want to make this resource available to in this program. It could be the whole college, or you could be saying this particular course we want to engage, or you allow the learners to choose. So very flexible, but critically, it also tracks the learners, it tracks the learners' engagement. So when you do get that knock on the door from Ofsted, you've got evidence there to show which learners have been doing what and their engagement. So our main goal is to support the colleges in the delivery of this programme, which has been described already by Neil and Sam. You'll have more detail through the rest of this webinar, but in summary, the resources we're providing are free for all participating colleges. As I mentioned, over 100 colleges already use our equal system where our resources sit, and we can just add the resource to your system automatically. For those that don't have our equal system, we will set that up for free for you, specifically to access these resources. So the whole service is free. We'll give you some support on how to use it if you need it. As I said, a large number of colleges already use the system and know how to use it, but we're there to support. The next session is a video from Chris. He's our development guru, does this stuff every hour of the day and for many, many years. And he will run through our development process, our approach to that development to ensure that we get effective and engaging resources, and obviously critical when Ofsted come in, how we try and make sure that the learner has learned. They're not just skipping through. It's that reinforcement, it's that formative assessment as they go through the resource as well. So I'm going to hand over to a video now, I believe, of Chris explaining that. Thank you.
Kelly, are we having technical problems here? Ah, brilliant.
Apologies, 2 moments, just a technical issue.
Hi there, my name's Chris and I'm the Head of Digital Learning and Teaching at the Skills Network. And our development of online learning experiences is quite unique in the sense of we lead with human-centered design principles, leading with empathy and a dedication to iterate. So we constantly engage with our learners, our end users, and look to improve and develop our resources as time goes on, while always being committed to emergent evidence from the learning sciences on how we as humans learn effectively, and therefore how we can engage our learners more appropriately in the online learning environment to support the achievement of their learning outcomes. And we're really looking forward to synthesizing our online learning design expertise with the established Changemaker program, and the first suite of courses that we've co-developed offer a clean visual aesthetic and well-structured information to support learners throughout their experience. Here's a sneak peek.
As a team member, you will be required to regularly interact with other people to achieve workplace goals.
Karen, can we move on to your section?
Yes, of course. Hello, everybody. My name's Karen Oliver. I think most of you do know who I am. I am the Good for Me, Good for FE manager, and I have been so for the past 2.5 years. In that time, the campaign has grown so much. It's come such a long way. I'm very proud of the campaign that it has developed. But I'd like to, first of all, speak to you about the campaign in general, not just the Changemaker programme, because I'm aware on this webinar today that there are colleagues who, yes, many of you do know about the whole campaign and you have been participating since the beginning, but there are some new colleges on the call and it would be really good to give you a general overview. So if I could have the next slide, please. So As Sam and Mark have already been telling you, the Good for Me, Good for FE is a national campaign. We've got over 150 colleges on board, and it's all about recognising, rewarding and celebrating volunteering across the FE sector. We've been doing that since 2021, and as I said, it continues to grow. So to give you an overview of the whole campaign, I've divided it, I like to think of it as 4 main strands. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have a really comprehensive, coordinated way of communicating with you. And this has developed over time, and much of our campaign is in response to our partner colleges, the direction that they want to take it in and what they want to get from the campaign. So our communication it involves lots of elements, and it's a comprehensive support package that keeps you informed and updated of everything that's going on, but also promotes and celebrates what you're doing. So as part of that, we keep in touch with each other. We are a community. We have one-to-one meetings regularly. I meet with colleges all the time. And as part of that, we also have half-termly keep in touch meetings. They are usually 2 options in the same week, every half term, where as many colleges come together as possible, and we share best practice. We talk about the latest developments and things that might be coming up soon. We have the Good for Me, Good for FE website, so goodformegoodforfe.co.uk. There's lots of useful information on there, and some of the other things that I'll be talking to you about will take you back to that website. There's going to be a new Changemaker page coming up very soon, so look out for those new developments. And we have a team site, so all of our partner colleges have a main contact at that college, and those people are linked to our team site where we share best practice. We have a repository for resources. That's where the recordings of our meetings are kept. It's very practical and a way to keep in touch with each other as well. And we have a termly newsletter, and that would focus on the term before and everything that has happened, as well as what might be coming up in the near future. We ask colleges to submit us their case studies. Really, really brilliant way to share best practice and inspire other colleges. And because of the fantastic relationship, we've got our media partner is FE Week. And we are in contact with FE News, and they regularly publish interesting things that are going on in the sector. And by submitting your case studies, we can use those to demonstrate the impact that you're having. And look out, see, we're developing all the time. We are going out on those socials, and we will have our own LinkedIn page very soon. Next slide, please. So the second strand, our social value calculator, and I think all colleges find this extremely useful. In the very beginning of the campaign, it was quite basic, and colleges would submit their volunteering hours, fundraising amounts and number of food bank donations every week, and we would generate a figure in social value in pounds. And that was very effective, but it only gave an overall figure. And colleges asked if that could be, if we could develop a way that they could know their own contributions, not just the overall figure. And that was probably my first project when I started working with the team. So we've developed a way, and this has been verified by the Social Action Portal, as an accurate way to give a figure for your social value. We have a form on the website. It's really easy to use. Colleges input their volunteering hours, their fundraising amounts, and because we're going to stay loyal to those food bank donations where we began. And you will get 2 emails back. The first email is just confirming the data that you've submitted. The second email you get gives you a social value total for that set of data. And by entering your data regularly and keeping a record of those emails, you will be able to demonstrate instantly with that figure the impact that your volunteering is having in your local communities. Next slide, please. So the third strand, our awards programme has already been mentioned, but I'm particularly proud of our awards programme. So we had our third annual awards ceremony at the House of Lords in December, and it was incredible, the best yet. So how it works is in September, nominations open across 8 categories. That's how it worked last year, and colleges are asked to submit nominations for worthy recipients in their college. That could be individuals, it could be a team, it could be the whole college that has taken part. And those nominations go off to a really esteemed panel of judges. They are incredible, and they include I'm going to do a bit of name dropping here. David Hughes, who's the CEO of the AOC, and Sheila LeGrave, who is the outgoing FE Commissioner. So we've just got the most amazing judges, and I do not envy them the difficult task of whistling those nominations down to 3 finalists. With the amazing support of the AOC, we announced those finalists at their annual conference in November. And the 3 finalists with their guests and their principals are invited to the House of Lords for an amazing celebratory event. It's just, it's joyful. It's about all of these dedicated, amazing volunteers. There isn't a dry eye in the house. So make a note in your diaries, because this year's awarding ceremony will be at the House of Lords on Friday, the 11th of December. As Sam pointed out, the dress code has already been sorted, because for those of us who fundraise and volunteer regularly, we will know that that is Christmas Jumper Day for Save the Children. So there you go. That is the dress code already done. We've even helped you there. Next slide, please. So this is our fourth strand. This is our Changemaker programme, and it evidences the employability skills that our learners develop through their volunteering. So we've demonstrated today, and we are continuing to talk about this morning. Others have spoken about this programme, but there are learners in our colleges. It's for all learners, but there are learners in our colleges that might not have other things on their CV to evidence the skills that they've learned. And this is just something for them as well. This is something for our lower level learners, our learners with extra needs. It really does give them something to be proud of, to give them something that they will be proud of having on their CV. So it helps them progress into meaningful employment and achieve greater social mobility. So my last slide, please. It's just a get in touch slide, really. If you'd like to find out more, if you'd like to get involved, perhaps you were part of the campaign some time ago and you'd like to reconnect, anything like that, you please contact me. So my email address is karen.oliver@lsec.ac.uk. There is also a contact form on the website, which will come through to me if you'd rather contact me that way. But that's a little bit, that's all from me just for this minute. I'll be back in a minute, but I'm going to hand over to Jack now from the Skills Network.
Thank you very much, Karen. I don't know how I can that really exciting. I just wanted to thank all of the speakers today, and for all of the brilliant questions that we're getting in the chat. I'm acutely aware of the challenges of trying to explain a really insightful and challenging programme in 30 minutes, and we can't do it justice. In terms of next steps, and Amy, I have noted your question, and I will make sure that we reach out today. But over the coming days, I will be reaching out to all attendees to provide both an opportunity to provide a little bit more detail about the platform, if anybody on this call is new to how our equal platform works and how to set up. I think it's important to reiterate as well what Mark mentioned around as part of giving back to the sector and as part of this wonderful programme, we will be providing a free preloaded equal platform with Changemakers resources to be available to be accessed by your organisation students. You know, this is not a try before you buy project. This is about supporting the sector and your students, and this content will remain free. We will be sharing the webinar, of course, for everybody that's attended, and anybody that's been unable to make this session today. And before we move into the Q&As, I just wanted to thank everybody once again for your time and participation. And I genuinely do look forward to working with you all as part of this truly incredible programme. And Gail, I'll hand across to you from the Q&A section, if that's okay.
Thank you. So there's some great questions that were submitted to us in advance of today, and I can see, Neil, you're kindly responding to some new ones that have come through. I wonder if we can answer the question around learners with high needs and volunteering and work experience opportunities there. Are there any tips potentially that we could share today, Neil? That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm happy to try and field as many of these as possible from our background. I mean, what I will caveat this with, this is a sector-driven program, and while this is the responses that we've got on the experience we've had, everyone's going to come in with different ideas, and we want to continue to try and learn by everyone's feedback. And what we want to try and do is build a community of the work that we're doing here, that we can share ideas, share ways of working to hopefully improve, because it's about a collaboration opposed to competition. I think the point on high needs, we generally take this focus on start small and flexible. That's the point of having the micro credential framework, and I think it's a lot easier to explain this in a conversation than a presentation. But the idea that the way that we've designed it is based on an individual's need or time commitment. They can move across the framework to suit them. So at the moment, we are obviously only launching that first quadrant, so that introductory award and that bronze level volunteering. But as hopefully people engage in the wider product and have that scope and scale, it might be a high needs learner is really highly functioning but has got social anxiety, so actually moving down the levels of the qualifications more appropriate to them than going out doing more volunteering. That could be something they get experience with and confidence with over time, where another learner might not have that ability to move through the contents level but has got the time and commitment to go out and get more of that sort of experience. So the whole program is designed that it can be adaptable for your learners, for your needs, for your time commitments, to develop the skills that are suitable to you. And as they get that micro award, they can get that they get that reward that can inspire them to go, oh, I want to do more hours, or oh, I want to go deeper into my content. So I think it's very much about working with them and going through their micro awards.
Thank you. Would you like to add to that as well? And maybe if we can cover a little bit on how this can be evidenced in a meaningful way for students, but also potentially for Ofsted as well. If you could answer a little bit of that, Karen, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, of course. I did just want to add that the pilot that we ran in the summer, we didn't know what to expect. It was the first time we trialled it, and we had 5 amazing colleges, and their feedback has completely shaped the way that this programme has been developed. And lots of those, and some of those colleges did work through this programme with their high needs learners. What they did was they started, as Neil said, you start small, and possibly in college, something I think it's best with any learner actually, when you're starting out and you're volunteering, to be tutor-led or led by somebody in the college to lend that support is really useful, really helpful. And you start small and you work, you do something, you do a project or a campaign that the students feel strongly about. They are much more likely to engage with that. There are some learners that will not be able to do that outside of college time. So you might want to schedule sessions during the lunchtime or in their break time, but not all learners can stay at all hours. So you need to take that into account as well. As far as evidencing, Mark has already said that this programme, taking it formally onto the Skills Network platform is incredible, because you've got you've got evidence straight away. But if you want to, there are lots of other ways to evidence what you're doing. And to do that to students, because what students aren't necessarily going to want the same evidence that an Ofsted inspector will want. So students will want to see perhaps posters around the college. They will want to have other students engaged in what they're doing, to celebrate what you're doing. I've been invited to present an in-house college awards at the end of April in anticipation of learners completing some elements of this Changemaker programme. And so it's about celebrating. Students will see that and they will want to get involved, and it sort of, it leads on from there, and it just becomes bigger and bigger and more exciting. But it's definitely, I mean, the social value calculator, that is your evidence. If you're putting your volunteering hours and your fundraising amounts, I mentioned food bank donation, but if you're putting all that data into that calculator, you're keeping a record of that social value you're generating, that's another formal way to do it. Obviously, colleges have their own systems that they will be able to get evidence from. Case studies, I spoke about case studies, another really good way to evidence what you're doing and to showcase that as well. And if you come on board the campaign, we're going to get that out into the FE sector through FE Week or FE News. Might even win an award. There's loads and loads of ways that you're going to increase momentum by starting very slowly. Hope that helps.
Thank you. Really great answer. And there's an interest, I think, from the from attendees around, is the programme suitable for staff? And maybe if we have that as our final question in the live session today, we can then move to sort of you and Jack wrapping up for us. But thank you, that was really, really useful insight to share there. Yeah, so how about this with staff in colleges and providers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've put it in the chat. And I mentioned this briefly at the start. We definitely see this a lot wider than just our young students. We were looking to use it for our own staff, invalidating the volunteering hours that they complete as part of the programs, as well as the deepening skills. But what we would really like is this to be is becoming sort of like a spiderweb network of opportunities, that once this goes into your colleges, you can look to use this and mix with other partners. It might be you talking to your local DWP around how it could be used to engage the claimants in getting back into employment. It could be used with your employers in your networks to say that this is an added value we can offer you for your CSL responsibility, for you to be able to reward your staff. So it's been really a lot wider and getting into a lot bigger network of organisations and people being aware of Good for Me, Good for FE, but also the Changemaker programme and how that can have an impact for them and their staff.
Wonderful, that's really encouraging, and I'm sure that inspires some new ideas from current colleges that work on this programme, and inspires some new ones to join, which, you know, hopefully is a key outcome from today. So can I hand back to Jack and Karen to sort of build our conclusion and share next steps, as I'm sure everybody's keen to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Not too much more from me. I think, as I've mentioned, we will be reaching out to everybody that's joined or been unable to join this webinar today. We will, of course, share the webinar recording. You know, I mentioned that it's so difficult, some of the brilliant questions that I'm already seeing on the chat, to go through what's involved in this, but we will make sure that we allow some time with everybody just to talk through the programme itself with Karen, but also the Equal platform with us. And I just wanted to say thank you again for joining this webinar. I think it's a really, really exciting, important initiative, and I really do look forward to working with everybody on this in the future. Thank you.
Okay, so back to me. So as we come to the end of today's webinar, on behalf of the Good for Me, Good for FE team, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. It's been such a pleasure to see so many of you here. Many of you I already know, and hopefully I'll be speaking to the rest of you very soon. As Sam has already highlighted, the Good for Me, Good for FE campaign was created to support and celebrate volunteering and fundraising across the FE sector, but it has grown into something far bigger. It has become a movement that champions our local communities, celebrates the power of FE, and creates genuine opportunities for our learners to build skills, confidence, and pathways into meaningful employment, ultimately supporting greater social mobility. We know that volunteering has a powerful impact. It supports mental health, helps tackle loneliness, builds friendships, and opens doors through new networks. The benefits ripple outwards, and I've seen this for myself, from the charities and communities being supported, to the volunteers themselves, and to the employers who value the skills, commitment, and experience that volunteering develops. As the campaign has grown, so too has the incredible support. We've just been extremely lucky from our annual awards programme, culminating in a wonderful celebration at the House of Lords for the past 3 years, going into our 4th, to our partnership with the Skills Network, who've helped us bring the Changemaker programme to colleges across the country. The programme offers a fresh and meaningful way to recognise skills, commitment and impact through the power of volunteering. I'd like to take a moment to thank those who've supported us along the way. Sorry. Okay, a huge thanks to the Skills Network. Okay. Sorry, I have a little technical problem here. So I'd like to take a moment to thank those who've supported us along the way. Obviously, a huge thanks to Skills Network. They believed in the Changemaker programme from the very first conversation and have been absolutely brilliant to work with. They've developed engaging, accessible resources that genuinely motivate and reward learners. We're also incredibly grateful to NCFE, who supported us from the beginning by sponsoring our awards programme and endorsing the Changemaker pilot last summer. Thank you as well to the AOC, who continue to provide us with a platform at their annual conference where we announce our award finalists, and where I've had the pleasure of meeting many of you and your colleagues actually in person over the past couple of years. But our biggest thanks go to you and our partner colleges. Thank you for steering this campaign, embracing the power of volunteering and sharing our vision. Together, we've generated millions of pounds in social value and inspired each other to support a huge variety of good causes across the UK. I've already been working with many of you, and it's given me enormous pleasure and pride to see how the campaign's developed and grown. For those of you new to the campaign, or maybe you're thinking of reigniting your involvement, Good for Me, Good for FE is flexible and works with you to support your college your way. We've mentioned flexibility already this morning, but it really is. When you're thinking about being part of the Good for Me, Good for FE campaign, you choose the parts that you are able to take part in. Just because you sign up doesn't mean that you have to use the social value calculator or you want to nominate for the awards, although we'd love you to do all of those things. But you choose the parts that you're able to do, and we will help to support you with whatever you choose. So, as I mentioned, if you'd like to find out more or get involved, please do get in touch. Please take what you've heard back today to your organisations. Share it with your colleagues, help us to continue to grow this movement. By doing so, we can collectively demonstrate the vital role that FE colleges play as anchor institutions within our communities. Thank you again for joining us and for everything you do to make a difference.